What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Chicago Bulls and more specifically DeMar DeRozan. And while I feel like what we're seeing with DeMar DeRozan over the last two games is truly a blessing in disguise. Now, at the end of the day, you might look at DeMar DeRozan's stats. I think he had 30 odd points against the Kings. He had 27 points today against Utah. And you might say to yourself, well, it's not really a disguise, is it? He's clearly balling out. He's having phenomenal games. And of course, people are noticing that. But at the same time, I think there are elements of his game that is a blessing in disguise. And I think there are elements of his game that's so massively important for this Bulls team that is a clear difference in how good or bad we could be as a team. And I want to discuss these things in this video. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls and, of course, DeMar DeRozan and his recent performances. Now, of course, with that being said, I want to go back to a phrase that was called upon DeMar DeRozan about 2 years ago when he was absolutely destroying teams in the clutch. He was called the king of the fourth quarter. And I'm not telling you he's lived up to that name and that stature this season. In fact, there are a lot of games where DeMar DeRozan has cost us games in the fourth quarter with his constant shots and his constant way to try to take over when things don't go his way. And that does hurt us and that does cost us games. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't. But when you see DeMar DeRozan in the type of mood you saw against Utah, 17 points in the fourth quarter against the Utah Jazz. You move your way to the Sacramento Kings game and he went absolutely crazy in that one as well. Yes, Kobe White had the career high. Kobe White even played well against Utah. And I know a lot of people like to talk about that because Kobe White is the talk of the town. But we can't ignore DeMar DeRozan's performances there. And here's why I think it's a blessing in disguise. When we're in, again, I think the biggest thing here is we have the clutchest team, not the clutchest team in the league. We play the most clutchest games in the league. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you because we play the most clutchest games in the league, we are a good team. In fact, I kind of think we have good players, but we don't play well as a team. That's how I view this team at the moment. But with that being said, when you play the most clutchest games in the league, your objective is obviously to win those games. You want to win those games. And we do have a positive record in winning those games. But with that being said, when DeMar DeRozan plays in this type of fashion, we will win more of those games than we lose. And that's the thing I want to take away, ladies and gentlemen. This type of performance for DeMar DeRozan. And simply put, we need this type of performance for DeMar DeRozan. At the end of the day, we can't just be that team that blows out every single team out of the water. We versed Utah, a team that's 2-8 in their last 10. We versed the Kings, who have given away a couple of big leads recently, but are a very good team and a team that's probably going to be fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the season as well. So all things being said, those types of games are two different opponents right in front of you. But DeMar DeRozan's performance remained the same. He took over in the fourth quarter. He took his shots. He was able to make pretty much everything at will. He was crafty. He fought hard. He defended well even in some of those possessions. He made some clutch free throws. He did a lot of excellent things in those two games. And I think there's a big difference when you see DeMar DeRozan play games like tonight and games like the Kings when he is super efficient and when he is balling out in the fourth quarter compared to the games where he's not doing that, where he's not balling out, where he's not shooting well, when he's not making free throws or even getting to the line. Sometimes he even plays a little bit passive. Whatever the case may be, when DeMar DeRozan is making and taking his shots in the fourth, we are a completely different team in the clutch. And he's that type of guy. There's a reason why they called him the king of the fourth quarter 2 years ago, and although I don't think he's lived up to that name and stature this season, those last two games, it's like a flashback. It's like a flashback of the good old days, I guess you could say, where DeMar DeRozan, remember the back-to-back games, DeMar DeRozan had two buzzer beaters in a row to win the game. I think it was the Wizards and the Pacers. Surprisingly enough, have we even versed the Wizards this season? Either way, whatever the case may be, that's a bit off topic. But it kind of reminded me back of those times. And it reminds me of how important DeMar DeRozan is to this team. Now, again, I'm not saying we need to keep DeMar DeRozan at all costs or anything like that. But you can't deny the importance. I mean, talking about a guy that knows how to step up when it matters the most. But I'll say this as well. It's not just DeMar DeRozan. I'm pretty sure there's a stat going around that the Bulls players in Kobe White, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic are all leading in plus-minus in the clutch as well, and they are leading the league in minutes in the clutch as well. So, of course, with more clutch games, that's bound to happen, but the plus-minus factor, I think, is very important, very intriguing, and I'm very happy to hear that type of news. But I think it's pretty simple. you know, I don't really think I could describe it any more than this. When DeMar DeRozan plays well in these types of statures, in these type of games, he is a force to be reckoned with, and this Bulls team can win a lot more close games than they don't. But when DeMar DeRozan is taking every single shot and he's bricking every single shot and he doesn't really understand when it's his time to pass the ball and he tries to take over in every single situation, that's when things get confusing, frustrating, and that's when the Bulls tend to lose a lot more of their games in the clutch as well. I am very thankful we've won more games in the clutch than we have lost. But with that being said as well, here's my advice for DeMar DeRozan and for the rest of this team. And it's a pretty interesting piece of advice because not only is DeMar DeRozan showing that he could take over in the clutch, but with the stat of the plus minus, it shows that Vucevic and Kobe White are both forces to be reckoned with in the clutch as well. In one way, form, or fashion, they make impacts together in the clutch. They find a way to be very successful in close games. Kobe White's not been shy of this moment as well. He's taken some very big and very clutch shots for the Chicago Bulls. The Kings game being an example of that. So it's beautiful to see. So my advice to the Bulls is my advice that it has been going for a long time now, and that is pass it to the hot hand. Whoever's going crazy, let them go crazy in the fourth quarter. And that is just as simple as that. So for DeMar DeRozan, as good as he is playing, I think a big step for DeMar and a big step for this team is when no shots are not falling in the beginning of the fourth. Because let's be honest, let's just say we're in a clutch game against the Warriors upcoming, and we're in a close game. DeMar DeRozan is going to want to take a fair share of his shots just to see if he's got it going again like he did against the Utah Jazz and the Sacramento Kings. But if for whatever reason no shots are not falling and no shots are bricking, it might be time for DeMar DeRozan to have a bit of discernment and understanding of the situation and maybe start to trust and pass to other guys on the team that they can make the difference. And of course, DeMar DeRozan will be there for free throws. DeMar DeRozan will be there to generate fouls. That's what he's good at as well. I think that's a big part of his performances in the clutch, being able to get to the line, being able to ice games with free throws. And that's a big, big, big sign of a player that's not afraid of the moment and is not afraid of taking those shots when they come in front of you. But it's an interesting stat. It's a very interesting stat regardless of the clutch. But that is why DeMar DeRozan, I guess to sum it up, performances have been a blessing in disguise. Yeah, 30 points, 27 points. You can look at those stats and say, of course, it's not necessarily a disguise. We can clearly see it. But the performances in the clutch, it's just night and day. And it really does make a big difference to this team. Do you know how much pressure it takes off of guys like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, who are both really young players, Nikola Vucevic, and other guys on this team to try and get that last shot when you got a guy like DeMar DeRozan that's done it before over and over and over again, or you have DeMar DeRozan that knows what it takes to win games in the clutch and steps up in those moments? It's not only a blessing for guys like Kobe White, who maybe doesn't have to take the tough shots every single game, even though we would like to sometimes, but it also gives Kobe White an understanding of what it's going to take to win games in the clutch. I think there is no coincidence that because of the way that DeMar DeRozan plays in the clutch, Kobe White is also doing great things and has great stats in the clutch. It's because Kobe White is witnessing firsthand what DeRozan does, and he is learning from DeMar DeRozan. I don't think it's a mistake, and I don't think it's a coincidence. And it's the same with Vucevic and other guys on this team that can hopefully use that to step up as well. So, put it this way, I'm thankful for the last two games for DeMar DeRozan, and I hope we see more. I hope he has a dominant game against the Warriors. If we need him in the fourth quarter, let's actually see DeMar DeRozan have a great fourth quarter so we don't get embarrassed by the Warriors again. We might need him against the Clippers. He dropped 50 against the Clippers in previous seasons. We might need one of those games if we're going to beat the Clippers, because I can't see a way we beat the Clippers, to be honest. So, there's still a couple of games to come. If DeMar DeRozan is finding his form towards the end of the season, I think it will be a blessing in disguise, especially when it matters the most, and that is the fourth quarter. But do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Thank you so much for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. I will see you in the next watch along against the Golden State Warriors. There might be a question mark of what games I could do watch alongs for after this game against the Warriors, but I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as possible until those days and games come. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.